In progress.
Welcome to a Muzzle Chat. Now, I hope everyone's having a terrific Monday. Guys, we got a special guest. I'm really excited to have Melanie here with me. She's got quite the story, and I've only gotten just a little sample. So I'm really excited to kick off this conversation because she's got a big heart. She's tapped into some things that are truly helping people and moving past traumas, becoming the best versions of themselves, like kind of what we've been trying to accomplish here on organizing people's toolboxes and rewiring things. And I mean, so with that being said, I'd like to welcome Melanie. How are you doing today? Welcome to Muzzle Chat.
I'm great, James. Thanks for having me.
It's as I was just sitting there trying to even kick off this epic intro. No, I couldn't help but to think back on just our even pre-interview, if you will. I got my notepad ready. I got a lot to learn, and I'm excited. So I'm done talking. I'm going to kick that off. So where would you like to start? Kind of on your story as to what led you to helping others. Obviously, you acknowledged and recognized a lot of things that were troubling you, or anchors and traumas and triggers, just all sorts of things. And you just had some personal breakthroughs that put you in this position. Where would you like to start with that?
Yeah, sure. We could start on the day of, you could call it the spiritual awakening, or what I like to say, when God just smacked me upside the head and woke me up.
Okay.
So that was a little over 6 years ago. And I was literally standing in my kitchen, contemplating my yet second divorce, having all kinds of wonderful thoughts about myself. And I just remember thinking, what is wrong with you? Oh my God, 2 divorces, Melanie? Holy shit, what is wrong with you? And what is wrong with you that you not only keep attracting toxic men, but you're marrying them, right? And it sounds like you could go down a really dark rabbit hole with that. And I did for a second. Just, some shame, some literally what the fuck moments. Mm-hmm. But it was the most beautiful moment because it's the moment that changed the rest of my life. And in that moment, I made the decision that I don't know the how, the what, the why, or whatnot. I just know I will never be in this position again. I just knew that I felt broken, James. I felt so broken. And I was obsessed with fixing the broken parts of me. Now, of course, I know now that I'm not broken, and none of us are actually broken, but we can go through things in our life, which that's what I started to see. You know how people say when you're about to die, your life flashes before your eyes?
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. But in that moment, my whole life flashed before my eyes. And I saw my whole past. I saw my people pleasing. I saw how I shut my voice down. I saw how I morphed myself into basically a chameleon to be whatever anybody else wanted me to be in order to be loved. I saw where I abandoned myself. I saw all the times that I just wasn't me.
Right.
And I didn't know why, right? But in that moment, I did. And in that moment, I decided, this is Melanie's time now, for the first time in my whole life, because my whole life was about taking care of everybody else. My mom, my stepdads, my brothers, my husbands, boyfriends, children. Now, of course, some of those things. Yes, of course. But I always came last. Always. I was never first. And consequently, I didn't even know who I was.
Wow.
And I think that was the biggest smack in the face of, holy shit, 2 marriages, now soon to be 2 divorces, 3 kids in, I'm in my early 40s, and I'm like, I don't even know who I am. What?
It's interesting, isn't it? Like we tend to lie to ourselves, and we think we know. It's like we know the projection we are putting out there of ourselves more than who we really are, what really fuels us in this life. And it sounds like you're having a breakthrough moment in that time you're referring back to. Just you're not reacting in this moment, it seems like the way the world's wiring would have one react, where it's just to victimize oneself, start pointing the finger. And the thing is, that's to your own detriment. You're actually like absorbing this moment. You're looking inward in the deepest way of like versus before, like, okay, what is going on? Like, so it sounds like this is a real deep beginning for acknowledgement and looking into being accountable and responsible, and like getting to know yourself. So, oh my gosh, please continue. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that is probably one of the hardest things for most people to do, is truly just to look in the mirror,
right,
and call yourself out on your own bullshit, and then be willing to then do something about it. Right. So it's like, I realized in that moment that I was the common denominator. And could I blame the guys? Of course, right. But then to your point, what was that going to do for me?
Who's perfect, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm the one who chose them. That's the more hard truth, right? And that was another like smack in the face. Like, yeah, one was a narcissist, the other was like controlling and belittling, and one was a psycho and a stalker. And these are all true. And was I innocent in that too? No. Right. If you poke the bear enough, you're going to get bit, right? So, if I was pushed in a corner, you're going to get a tongue lashing. So I wasn't innocent either. I had some of my own toxic shit.
Right.
But the most critical, most beautiful, I feel, thing that any of us can do for ourselves is truly that real, true, don't sugarcoat yourself, don't lie to yourself anymore. You got in this situation, right? Your choices, good or bad, right or wrong, doesn't matter what happened in your life. We all have stories. God knows I had my own too. Now, what can I do to not be in this anymore, right? Now, what can I do to become better so this never happens again? And that was like my quest. Like I had told you, like I felt broken. Again, I know I wasn't, but I didn't know at the time. So all of that, I like to call it unlearning, unbecoming, right? Because I like to say like I became somebody different, but I don't think that's really true. I think I became the real me in that journey. I think what I was doing was shedding away all the layers of, in essence, all the shit that I took on that made me feel unlovable, unworthy, not good enough, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
And, all the boxes that like society puts us in, we put ourselves in, right? Yes. If you're this, you're good. If you're this, you're bad. If you're this, you're right. If you're this, you're wrong, right? No, fuck all that shit. None of us are supposed to be in any boxes. Like we're all so beautifully, perfectly unique.
Right.
And I truly believe that the best thing that we can do for ourselves and for each other, for humanity, is to figure out who the hell we each are outside of all the box that society's put us in and we've put ourselves in, and then have the courage to be that person.
Wow. Courage. That resonates. I mean, it makes so much sense. That in and of itself would even fix. You wouldn't have like those trolls or the hate, I wouldn't be experiencing like those haters either. Like they would actually be confident and have the courage to have the real discussions and find out intent, and we more so could exist in a loving sense and support of one another. Than I don't get it. Like being in this box where pride and ego means so much, and to project one as self is wise, or it's just interesting. A lot of the psychology and stuff involved in the faulty wiring. So fast forward in some of this, there's some realizations that even tie back in time to like your childhood and things that nature that you had breakthroughs on.
So like, long story short, I grew up without my father, but now he's in my life and we're like best friends.
Cool.
And I had 6 stepdads by the time I was 21. And at the time, I know it's a lot. At the time, I didn't know this, but what it did as I started to get older and date is it created a very, let's just say, a distrust for men. Well, of course, there's in and out, right? Like, how could it not? And what it also did is it set in some unworthiness. Like, I must not be important. And again, these things it's not logical. It's, in essence, you could call it wiring. You could call it what happens in your nervous system. You can call it conditioning, programming, pick the word, right? And in essence, all means the same. So because when we're little, like our subconscious is wide open and we just take in like the sponge without, no, I don't want that. And yes, I do want that. We just take it in. And then we turn into an adult. And in essence, what I feel like is that we're a bunch of little kids in grown-up bodies trying to get our childhood needs met, right? So because I felt abandoned by men, of course, right? Of course, I wouldn't trust men. Duh. Like, makes complete sense, right?
Right.
And because I didn't trust it and it didn't feel safe, what I ended up doing was, in essence, creating like my own false masculine persona. So what that can look like today, and what I see a lot in, is like the whole boss babe mentality. It's like the hyper independent modern woman. Well, I was like that out of survival. I didn't want to be that way, but my childhood taught me, right, without me even realizing, you have to be like this to be safe. So what did I do? I put armor around my heart, didn't know I was doing this, and I felt very little. Like, you would never have known all the suffering that was going on inside of me if you knew me back then. Nothing. You would never have known. No, only my best friend knew. Because to me, crying was weak. Being vulnerable was weak. That just terrified me, right? To no way, it was embarrassing is how it felt. Like, my life felt embarrassing to me. Having 6 stepdads, going through all that crap. Like, I took it on, right? Of like, what did it mean about me? So when you think of all of those things, then yeah, of course, the thing that was so interesting, James, is that all I ever wanted was to be loved. All I ever wanted was, so-called a real man. But guess what? I could never have attracted one because I was the damn man. Like, it's just it's not possible.
Wow.
So like, that's what's going on in like the modern woman today. And most women don't know that. They're on like that program,
right,
and they don't realize they're an actual repellent to the very thing that they want.
Wow. This is all so deep, but we're on to something. You're on to something. I could see already the value just to open people's eyes to like basically even acknowledge the box that our upbringing like put us in, or the society or education system, to really acknowledge, and is kind of the first step in breaking all this down. I mean, humanity is very easily manipulated. Like it's insane. Like we don't need to dive into politics. We don't need to dive into much, but I mean, just to even touch on like the pandemic and how they're able to conjure something up and ramp up fear, and how many people just complied, you know, like with faulty information and follow the science and these catchphrases. Like it's torture tactics. So it's interesting. We undoubtedly have been impacted, and it has been hindering our authentic selves. And I believe even with a lot of this woke movement, you know, there's really no foundation to so much of it. So people are just gravitating towards what's trending. And you hit the nail on the head. We really long to be liked, loved, and have these groups. And in a moment, it can seem beneficial, but in reality, we should be asking ourselves is it potentially toxically beneficial in like this moment? Like what is the pure, just looking through a different lens and stepping back and breaking down some of these barriers and boxes. Wow. I'm just having like my own little kind of reassurances and breakthroughs, like, you know, in my own reflections, because a lot of what you're just saying resonates with me, and it's been profound breakthroughs, actually, like questioning, like, well, why is it, like, kind of just to that situation of that troll. It was clearly a troll I just recently dealt with on Facebook, and it was interesting. I even acknowledged it was a troll. Like, this isn't even, more than likely not even a real account. And I could even feel like the anxiety because they had this very negative message, and it just is like, come say that to my face, you know, type of thing. But it's just like, it just is like, why is it, but to take a minute, like, and look inwardly, why is it I'm even reacting this way? I have more work to do. It's just showing the opportunity I have for more refinement, because I could have grace for this individual, whether it's a troll or, I don't know, just a hater. There's just a lot of work to be done. Like, oh my gosh, I'm getting lost.
Well, I commend you for that beautiful reflection that you just did, because literally you just said, you know, there's some inner things that need to happen here. Like, why does this bother me? Right. And I feel like that introspection is the key. And I think we're so distracted as a society. And a lot of times we purposely distract ourselves because we don't want to feel, right? But even if we don't purposely do it, we are so distracted. Think about it. We all the social media, we have Netflix, we have so many like electronics, right? Like, how many times do people actually shut down the noise and just sit fucking outside in nature for a minute, or meditate, or do nothing, right? Like, how often? And if we're constantly like bombarded with all the noise, then there is no space for introspection.
Wow.
And then we're like dead. We're like little zombies walking around just like on autopilot, never even fully thinking, right? Like, think about, and I remember, because that used to be me. Like, that when I say spiritual awakening, like that, I literally felt like I was awake for the first time. Is really what it was like. Wow. And all of us have this conditioning, right? So it's like, let's stop for a second. Let's pause. what are we all in such a damn rush for? There's no there's no first place trophy for getting there. Like
Right.
what the fuck is that anyway?
Right.
Right? Like the joy of life is in, not to get all philosophical and woo woo, but like the joy of life is in now.
Yes. Wow. Right now. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, is like the only time, space, whatever that actually exists, right? Like right here, right now, in any moment is all there is.
That's beautiful. For me, note to self, right now, I'm going to write it down. If anyone takes anything away, boom, there's your solid gold nugget and really absorbing it, but not just in those 2 words, but with what you just uncovered. I mean, it's interesting. Like, it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, why, like, ask ourselves, why does it not feel safe? Why is it not safe to feel?
Yeah.
Why is it not safe to feel? Like, right there, to me, it seems to be very clear that we all have traumas in our lives that are impacting that. So triggers. And we've also been socially conditioned. We've literally been put in a box because at the end of the day, like, and then there's a sense of maybe laziness that we don't want to do the hard work. It's easier to point the finger and do the blame game than looking inwardly and do the real work, where at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if someone's done that work or not, and they just want to come lashing out the fact that you could live in a place of grace and love where it's rolling off your shoulders and it's not impacting you, because at the end of the day, if they're not attacking you, it's just words. Why is it? Yeah. Why you having it sink in like a literal dagger just got inserted into your body? You know, like that just highlights, wow, I'm a weak being that I'm dragging around trauma anchors. I haven't done the refinement on myself. Like, I really admire people like Charlie Kirk, how he could get in the thick of some very controversial topics and not get riled up, stay articulate, stay on point, stay based in truth. And it some people get put in their place, but more often than not, the other side of the situation loses it, and it just highlights, and like my heart can go out to that individual, but it also, that's why I admire this man, because I haven't achieved that level of resilience in snipping all them anchors and being in this real peaceful, loving place, because I know, oh my gosh, I would have started getting riled up. You know, there's a lot of work we're highlighting here, I think, all around. And this doesn't just go for the younglings. This applies, because we're all human and we're perfectly imperfect, and this is a forever work. Like, it's just like the gym. You could even achieve a certain level of like resilience on this philosophical, like whatever, understanding. But if you're not continually advancing and working that out, you will deteriorate as you age. So, you know, and there's a phrase, can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's like, you absolutely can. It's just, I don't know what it is. There's almost a sense of pride and ego with aging that it's just commanding respect or something that like I've acknowledged with a lot. Like, I'm very grateful for the older folks that continually eat like humble pie and work on this. But more often than not, they're just stubborn mules, you know? And no.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. No, to your point, age has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. Like, and the whole thing about age, I think, is another toxic, unhealthy thing, right? It's like once you become 40, it's all downhill, or 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever. It's like whatever number, right? It's like, oh, just give up on life, right? Just you're gonna fall apart. You can't reinvent yourself. You can't fall in love. You can't make the money. You can't have the career. Can't. It's all fucking bullshit. Like, who decides this?
Right.
Like you're the motherfucker that's in charge of your life. Like
Wow.
that is it.
Wow.
Period. End of story. Don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do.
Wow. So you've transitioned. You've had some pretty, you openly admitted, and you could tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but you're like, career wise, you chased the money, you got in pretty respectable positions and did really well for yourself, but realizing kind of like with your own personal journey and your personal story that this isn't like fulfilling, this isn't like meaningful, purposeful, like it's nice to have or whatnot, but it finally got to a point, like maybe talk on that, like where this shift happened, where it really didn't become about more so money because you had these personal breakthroughs. And it's interesting when folks have these amazing breakthroughs, some might even say miracles happen in their lives, they just shift into, wow, I see how this could help others, and you just end up more so in a service role. But obviously with that, like the point you're servicing, like, there should be a good business model that could come out of that too, but
Yeah. So to your point, I didn't choose to be a coach. It was never even a thought. It chose me. I'll say it that way. And it was, yeah, I was a designer for Ford. I did medical device sales. I did fix and flips. I did interior design. I did software sales. Like I had so many, and many of them were coveted, and many of them took a lot of determination, education, and whatnot to get into them. And to your point, yeah, I didn't have role models. So I didn't know, it's sad to say, but it's true. My mom was a role model of who I didn't want to be. And so I had no guidance. So I chased the money, to your point, because I needed to be able to take care of myself. And barely scraping by was never going to be an option for me. So I chased the money. I got into coveted careers. And then within, 2-3 years, I was like, forget this. I can't stand this shit. And then it was during my unraveling, unbecoming, unlearning, that epiphany that I had when I was going through the second divorce, where I was unbecoming and then becoming who I am really, right? Like my most authentic self, that it became very, very clear that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I got on the other side of this thing where once I always felt like this, like my stomach was always just like tight and in a knot. And I felt the majority of my life I was in survival mode, and I just tightness in my gut and just anxious and fear-based, and yeah.
Right.
And so
fight or flight. Yeah.
Yes, fight or flight consistently. And for me, it was always flight because I didn't fight. So when I got on the other side of that and I felt inner peace for the first time in my whole fucking life, and like consistent inner peace, right? Not just fleeting, but like waking up feeling inner peace and feeling genuinely like joyful, not trying to affirmation my way into it or whatever, right? And feeling like love and forgiveness in my heart, especially for myself, because I was my own worst critic. Like you couldn't have said anything about me that I didn't already know months ago or years ago. Like you're trying to point out a flaw in me, and I'm like, shit, I've already known about that sucker, right? So
right. Wow.
I was my own worst critic, as many of us are. And yes, getting on the other side of like truly having real self-love and forgiveness of self, because that was hard for me too. And then forgiveness of my mom, forgiveness of my dad, forgiveness of the exes, like just letting it all go.
Yeah.
I felt free. I felt genuine, like free, joy, love, like, oh my God, I feel like I'm alive for like, what was I doing before? Right. And then it's just, I just knew intuitively, maybe God's speaking to me, whatever, your listeners like to,
yeah,
infuse intelligence, whatever you want to call it, the creator of all things, was like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Wow.
You did not go through that in vain. That was intentional. You needed to go through that shitstorm of a past in order for you to do the work, to know the way, to know the path out of it.
Wow.
And it just became this really beautiful, like sacred responsibility. That's how I like to look at it.
Wow. I love that. You voiced breakthrough in a very, like a way I couldn't. And that's why I love this type of platform. So we can capture moments like that. People can let it resonate, and hopefully it flips the switch and has just enough of an impact for people to start taking little steps of progress, right?
Yeah.
And we need the best versions. I mean, look at the state, the deterioration of the world around us. Like, we live in a land of abundance. Like, we've never had such beautiful comforts, and you know, evil's just effectively infiltrating things. So it's just important. Like, our health, so much of the situation has been intentional, from the indoctrinations and infiltration from our education systems to the news, the level of impacts in social medias and media and Hollywood. All of this has been attributing to kind of creating those boxes. And it's just so important that, like, we cut those anchors of unforgiveness. We free ourselves to really look within and live in, like find that, like, there's not a more worthy pursuit. Like, and I believe a lot of things that do hinder our health, you know, so to detoxify and work on nutrition. I mean, we've covered a lot of that on this platform. But so to get more specific now, like, so you just started sharing this with others. It just kind of just naturally became, well, I could, and you've seen shifts and changes within other people. So you're like, I could commit full time to this. I could make it rewarding, like to my time, but it's still a service position. So how long have you been doing this, and how many breakthroughs now have you seen with people you've helped coach, guide?
Yeah. So it's important to say that not all coaches look at being a coach in this way, but I do, is like how like a therapist looks at a person's mental well-being is the most important thing, right? And that's how I look at it too. So even though I transformed my life, and that was like my first client in essence, right? I knew I also needed to get educated in this. Like, I knew what my path was, and I knew that I could take others down the same path. But because I didn't know about coaching, therapy, things like that, do's and don'ts, right? Because again, you're dealing with a mind, a body, and a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a sacred being. Mm-hmm. And I knew that right from the get-go. And I knew that I needed to know what I was doing, because I'm holding, like, there's a level of trust that you put into a coach, into a therapist, into it. Well, anybody that you work with, that's another human being, right? It doesn't matter if it's a doctor, lawyer, coach, therapist, it doesn't matter. But even more so for me is they're coming to me with their deepest fears, right? This is me in raw, right? They're giving me I probably know parts of my clients that other people have never known and might not ever know, right? So that's sacred. That is so important, that you know what the hell it is you're doing. So I got certified as a life coach, even though I knew relationships was like my baby, because that was That's why I started, working with coaches and working on me and working with therapists and doing literally everything that exists, trying to fix me. Right.
Mm.
So I did that. And then I got certified in relationship coaching. So I really want people to understand that, because I'm not going to talk shit about coaches. I don't talk shit about anybody, but I do think that I'll talk shit about myself though.
Oh.
I do think that there is this perception that a lot of people think a lot of coaches are just coaches who've coached themselves, and therefore they just think they can coach everybody. And when you're a true professional, just like every profession, that's not the case. That is not the case. And that's definitely not the case with me. So I just want to say that. Now, what did you ask me again?
Oh, shoot. Let's think. Well, there was another point actually. And with your question, it's probably we'll just say lime brain over here. Let's see if I could find that again. Well, I'm literally throwing in filler words because I don't even know where this is going. I'll admit. No, it's really important though, like what you were touching on regarding the coaching. Oh.
Like the holding the sacred space and considering their entire being in it, and actually knowing what you're doing so you don't harm somebody. That's a big deal.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, I like how you even reference the relational side of your coaching being your baby due to your walk. Like I'm just grateful. I get what you're talking about to an extent. Like the whole coaching, like, whoa, what gives these people like this pedestal? Like, yes, I get it. Some people abuse it in a distasteful type of way. But when people are really showing up on on behalf of bettering, and just because all we really have is what we've been able to absorb, what we like personally, and that's the kind of the stage I take is I can only speak from my experience, and if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, other people will form words on a more logical side, maybe spectrum that resonates with some data crunchers or accountants, or I don't know. Like, I just love what you're doing because it's almost like churches out there. I'm grateful that there's just a bunch, because it's like people migrate to what works for them. If it was just one specific style or this or that, like not as many would be getting saved or asking the why as to why we're here. And it's just cool because through relationships, this is what it was. As you were talking, I don't know, my mind went there because I can relate with how heavy relationships can be. And it kind of took me back, and for a moment, and I could only imagine, having children involved, actually taking that step. I myself I've been close to marriage. It's just never happened because like I have my own traumas and fears, and I'm thankful I didn't go to that step with these individuals because in ways I wasn't ready, and I didn't actually align with, because I was with someone I should have been involved with to begin with, because I wasn't living my authentic self. So it's interesting, but nonetheless, those moments were, as I reflect back, like gruesome. They were heavy. They were beyond it challenging. And it was so difficult. Like, as I reflect back, like I often would relate to relationships in life, the greatest challenge we'll experience in this existence. And that becomes true when priorities are misaligned. And that is the number one. That's where I feel like a creator kind of helps prioritize to where these things don't break people, to where those. So I guess in a way, I'm trying to breathe some light into anyone in that moment where it seems overwhelming, overbearing, because as I'm viewing Melanie here, this beautiful woman that's just expressing vulnerability in her art, that in a way, I'd venture to say you could, at this moment, express gratitude to those individuals, the roles they played, the heartache, yes, they caused, the trauma, yes, they caused, but in a way, express even gratitude for all of that, because it led to these breakthroughs for you. So for those individuals, even though it's beyond even fathoming or understanding that, hey, one day you very well could, you do have the opportunity to grow to a point of even having gratitude for this situation that feels like it's going to break you. So hang in there, stay strong. Like, it isn't just one of those things, time heals wounds. Time gives opportunity for growth. And with that growth, that heals with understanding, with looking inwardly. That is what heals.
The introspection is key.
What was that?
Introspection is key.
What's your definition of introspection?
Looking within, self-reflecting, listening to like your innermost thoughts and beingness and what you believe to be true. The inner game is everything. The inner game is literally everything. Like we can get into some woo stuff here, but like we literally are co-creators. Like our outside world is a manifestation of our inside world. So if I grew up feeling unlovable, unworthy, not good enough, of course I'm going to attract men that make me feel more unlovable, unworthy, and not good enough, because everything is this mirror, right? It's this mirror. And if you can just look at it like that, when you're in it, it's hard to detach, right? But it's awareness is everything, right? So when you have that introspection, now you have awareness. Now you have like a more of an open mind, a larger perspective, and you're not looking at life as attacking me and life is God must hate me or something or whatever, right? I must just not be lucky in love, whatever story you want to tell yourself. Like, it's usually a lie.
Right.
And if you can go within and pay attention, how do I talk to myself? Am I like my own worst enemy, or am I my biggest cheerleader, right? Because the one thing that I found over and over and over again, James, first in my first experience with myself going through this process, and then taking all the clients I've taken through it, the common denominator, and this might be hard for people to admit, but the common denominator is the reason we get in shitty relationships with others is because we have a shitty relationship with ourselves. That's the bottom line, shortest version.
Truth. To those that are like, not me.
Yeah.
Spend a little more time in front of the mirror.
Do you like yourself? Name all the things that you like about yourself. I remember when one of the first coaches I worked with had me go through that. It was all about my self-image. Write down all the things you like about yourself. Write down all the things you don't like about yourself. All the things I don't like about myself, I could go on for days at the time, right? Everything that I liked about myself, I was like, what do I like? That was a really sad moment.
Oh my gosh.
Like sitting here reflecting, what do I like about myself? And the first few things I came up with, it's James and Dave.
You're awesome.
James was physical. Seriously? Like, so I challenge your listeners, write down all the things that you like about yourself as a mind, as a body, and as a soul. That'll just make it easier. So you don't just like look in the mirror and be like, I like my butt, I like my hair, right? Like, what do you like about your heart? What do you like about who you are as a person?
Right.
Right. like about what you do for work, who you are to others, on all the things.
Yeah.
And it's like, really listen. And if you don't like it, start to figure out, where does it come from? Are these actual truths that I believe? Like, am I truly unworthy? No. Actually, if God created all of us, and God did, how am I unworthy? Clearly, I'm worthy enough to be here.
Right.
So otherwise, I wouldn't be here, right? So who told me I was unworthy? And is that actually true? So it's like, start to unpack these really shitty beliefs
Right.
that we have about ourselves.
Wow. I love that. Well, where can people connect with you and look over? You seem like one that needs to write a book. Have you started?
I am. I'm starting to write it right now.
There we go. All right. That'd be really cool. You have a Wild Heart Life. Is that a webpage?
Yeah, the Wild Heart Life is the name of my company. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could just Google the Wild Heart Life, and then you can find, I have free resources on there. I have webinars. I have ebooks. There's different ways you can work with me on there. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook too, under Melanie Verstrady.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely get some links from you to add into the comment section. So listeners, definitely support Melanie, what she's doing, and check out those links. We are, let's see, 46 minutes. So it's, what other gold nuggets? I mean, is there any, I like to give a little hope, a little light. I mean, in your own words, any advice you'd give to anyone? Because, I mean, it's no secret. We've now become the most suicidal generation in history. And I don't know if it just speaks on your heart to like reach out to a certain demographic or age group, or just kind of general. I mean, anything to help breathe light and life into these folks. Because it is interesting. I just see like the deterioration across the board to where we're weaker and not as full of life. And it's these looking inwardly that leads to life and enjoying our existence. Wow, because we're just visiting. Like it's interesting. I had some crazy hardships and head traumas and things, and that was the shift for me, was inevitably facing the man in the mirror and just asking, like, do I value this life? And I had alcohol issues, addiction, and initially it was a hard one to answer. It was kind of a weak yes, I value it, but kind of like but when it became a resounding like, frick, yes, I do, like, I just knew what that meant. Like, that meant cutting out, like, I view even alcohol like a toxic ex. Like, it's just a roller coaster. Sure, there were some fun moments and whatnot, but I mean, was it really adding value to my life? It just, no. And it was going to lead to very, like, destructive. So why take that risk? Anyway, I'm just rambling. So what light could you breathe into someone?
No, that was beautiful. What you just shared.
Oh, thanks.
You're not here. Well, as you were talking, I had a vision of myself when I just remember, and now this is what I think I want to leave with your listeners. Okay. I remember literally dropping to like my knees in the midst of the shitstorm that was like my first divorce, and just in essence begging God to like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't deserve this. I remember saying this literally. I don't deserve this. I'm a good person. I've been a good wife. I'm a good mother. And as hard as it may seem when you're in it, nothing is ever being done to you. I do not believe any of us are ever being punished. How can God, you like look around you and you look at the planets and the sky and the birds and nature and the mountains and the water and the ocean and just the beauty all around us, right? Just look at like, if you just look at nature, if you're like hating on humans right now, right? Just look at the birds and the cats and the dogs, right? Most people don't have a problem with that. And you just see the beauty in it and the perfection that's in it. There's no punishment.
Wow.
I truly feel. So what that was, what I was being shown was all the ways I was not loving myself, all the ways that I was abandoning myself in that marriage. All the ways that I chose somebody that I knew wasn't good for me. And I chose to ignore my intuition anyway, because I believed the lies about that I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I need to settle, la, 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 right? So it's like, sometimes that path, sometimes we got to go, unfortunately, because we're stubborn motherfuckers, James, okay?
Yes, we are.
Sometimes we got to go down the darkest, worst path possible in order to find the light.
Right.
And that is what had happened to me. And I think sometimes that's what has to happen to a lot of people. When you were talking about suicide, like it's awful that happens. And I feel that they're so stuck in that darkness that they can't see the light.
Right.
And so if anybody is in there, like, know that it's not going to last forever. I mean, I wish I had magic words to just make everybody stop saying it, but I have been in very, very, very dark places in my life. And I will tell you, I never contemplated that. I never contemplated it. It was never a thought. Even though I wanted, like I said, it was dark, like it just needs to end. And I think I always just knew innately that it's not going to last forever. No, even good times don't last forever, right? So if you're in the shittiest of times, no, it's going to end. And the way to start to feel better is to give yourself that hope, right? Go in the fucking sunshine. Like, there is nothing better for your mood than the sun.
Right. Yeah.
Fill yourself up with love. Be in nature. Be around people who are good for you, who love you. Get a puppy. I don't know, but like, love the shit out of yourself. Hug yourself. Be the parent to your little inner girl or little inner boy that you never had. I mean, there's so much to live for. Life can be such a gift.
Right. I love it. You gave beautiful calls to action. I mean, just standing in the sunlight. I mean, jumping in a cold plunge. Like, if you just had a road rage incident and you're just and you're free, like, jump in a cold, like, and then go back to try to go back to that moment and complain more. Will you? You just like, meh, after you shiver and warm up, like, cold plunge and then lay out in that sunlight. Like, it's wild. Like, there's a lot of things we could do to just snap out of that toxic perspective. And we've all been there. And that's where we need to be able to voice out on all this more, because like, Western medicine and our society has it to where it's like these mental disorders and conditions that no one wants to voice about. And it's just like, are you kidding me? There's like miracles happening with the most basic things, and SSRIs are like perpetuating the bigger issues. So there's legitimate, real solutions out there. And it's just, we can't help people that don't want to help themselves. So it all starts with yourself, and stand in front of that mirror. And I love that you gave, because I'm such a visual creature, that you gave the visual as to, like, at the point you want to play your violin and have that pity party and whatnot, like, you look around and Like, we're causing that. Like, look at the beauty around us. Like, it could be healthy to vent to God and voice your frustrations. Like, that's a good step. And with that, like, clearly, like, it led to this greater, more like strong perspective with that whole visual you were sharing. And I found that a beautiful tool for people to grasp and hang on to. Melanie.
There's one more thing
yes.
I want to say, and if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I said another thought. So studies say that men right around the age of 50 have the highest rate of suicide.
Oh boy.
And I think something that's really sad in our culture right now, and I want people to think about this, and I want them to start to actually like allow themselves to express themselves, is that we suppress too much. We suppress our sadness, our anger, our rage, our outrage,
our tears. Men.
Sometimes we even suppress our own happiness. I don't know why, right? But we do. We are a suppressing society, and I used to suppress everything. And then what happens when you suppress, right? You end up taking it out on yourself. And so that can turn into despair and depression. And if you're in that deep, dark place of depression, it's really fucking hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
And especially for men, it's like anger is demonized. Anger is a very healthy fucking emotion. Like, of course you're going to be angry if something bad happens, or somebody tries to hurt your family or somebody you love, or, you know, whatever, right? Like, anger is a normal, healthy expression. I think part of the reason we have become such a sick society, meaning physically sick, disease, and more mental illness, is it's the suppression of all this pain. It's the suppression of the fucking feelings. And so if you're mad, allow yourself to be fucking mad. Like, scream, break some shit, punch a damn pillow. I mean, hopefully you don't like punch a person, you know. Sometimes you do that. Back in the day, boys used to do that. They used to roll around, kick each other's asses, and be like,
there's something to that too. Yeah, where, gosh, we've become such a, there's a healthy part of that where just two guys, why are you getting so worked up? Like, just duke it out, get over it. Get over it.
Or punch a punching bag. Just let it out. Or listen to some Metallica really, really loud, right? Or just express it. That's the thing. Don't suppress it. Express it. Because it's like emotion is energy in motion, right? So it wants to come out. Like, here's a really good example. Have you ever watched the zebra on like National Geographic? And he's being chased by the lion, and he's just running his ass off to escape death, right? Somehow he escapes. And if you watch, like, I want everybody to YouTube this. If you watch, he starts to just shake his whole body, right? Viscerally. He's shaking off the trauma. He's shaking off what just happened. And within moments, he's frolicking, fornicating, eating, having a good time.
Wow.
Enjoying, his authentic self. And we as humans are so civilized, right, that we don't even allow ourselves natural expression. So, like, punching a punching bag could be a natural expression of anger. Yelling could be a natural. Just let it fucking out when it's there, and don't suppress it. Cry if you're sad. Like, people don't even know what to do when people start crying around them. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's natural. They're just releasing. It's such a beautiful expression. So, yeah, the last thing I have to say is just allow yourself to fucking feel.
Yes.
There's healing in the feeling.
Courage. Healing in the feeling. And have the courage and kick fear and doubt in the face. And I love it. Once again, visual man over here. And then that zebra, like, just shaking it off after. Like, it was just this horrific, but it like literally, like, to take that action, like, just shake it off and then get back to normal life. Like, wow.
And
Healthily, not just, yeah.
Yeah. We freeze in it, right? So like shaking it off could be anything for anybody. Like you could go work out and help it, right?
Yes.
You could dance, you could laugh, you could cry, you could punch something, you could take like an old TV and take a bat to it and just start kicking the shit out of it, right? That way you're not getting the road rage. That way you're not getting in bar fights wanting to kill somebody because, something that pissed you off last month or whatever.
Right. My gosh. Melanie, I love it. Yeah, you've been a delight. And I love the strong language too, because it's like,
I can't not do it, James.
Well, I can respect it. I can. And that's your authentic self right now. And yes. I love it, because sometimes it takes just that to break through to some individuals. And yeah, that's beautiful. I'm really excited. I hope this blesses other people's lives. I really hope they check out your links, and for those that you resonate with, like, actually reach out, guys, and let's kick off this community. Leave the comments, follow, share this, help support such amazing people such as Melanie here, so we can create that alternate economy that we so desperately need in this crazy fallen world. Any last thoughts?
Nope. I think I said a lot.
Well, no, it was beautiful. So I'm excited to get this uploaded, and obviously, depending on how you feel, could have you back. But stay on the line. I'll just thank the listeners here. I'd like to chat with you just a bit. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. My notepad I even got more, and I'm probably going to listen to this back and take down even more, because the reality of it is, like, this is just a forever work, and I'm thirsty, and I want to put in my reps and put in the time to somewhat achieve the best version of myself I can. And I just don't know a more worthy pursuit in this life. So I hope this was a bit uplifting, encouraging. God bless you all. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you soon.